Okay, we're back. Sorry guys, this is like gonna be another like a 4-parter probably. Um, my camera kept, my video kept pausing and it kept saying something on the screen and I thought, what the heck is that? And then I realized that it's telling me that my storage is full. Oh dear. So I had to go and delete a bunch of crap. I got a lot of really, old photos and stuff that I don't need on here anymore. So anyhow, I'm going to have to sit down and clean up my files on my, on my phone. But anyhow, we're back. So where were we? Paramedics were there. So yeah, they had asked me briefly, was I okay? I said left shoulder, left arm, hurts from the seatbelt, whatever. My adrenaline's just through the roof at this point. Not only from the impact and the shock to myself, but at this point, I got to be really honest with you. At this point, it was more, my focus was more on her. I mean, here's this little girl who is the same age as my children, and this has just happened to her, and she's 37 weeks pregnant, and yes, it was her fault, but I mean, I'm quite certain poor child did not get up that morning and say, you know what, I think maybe on the way to my doctor's appointment, I'm just going to try to kill myself and my unborn daughter for shits and giggles, quite certain poor kid didn't do it on purpose. My focus right now is just on her, and more especially her unborn daughter. So I said, don't worry about me, I'm fine, just see to her. So the paramedic said to me, if you do start to feel, I'm trying to look at the lens, guys, I'm so sorry. The paramedic said to me, if you do start to feel unwell or any differently than you feel right now, just let one of the officers know and they'll call for another ambulance. And I said, okay, good enough, that's fine, just get her out of here. So they put her on the board, they put the collar on her neck, and one of the paramedics was listening. He had a stethoscope, and he was listening to her belly and frowning, and listening to her belly and frowning, and listening to her belly and frowning. He never said anything, but I could certainly tell by the look on his face. He's thinking, where the frig is the fetal heartbeat? So I thought, this isn't good. So, of course, I had, once I got off the phone with 911, I had immediately called work because I was literally, at the time of the accident, I was literally due at my palliative client's home in the next, 5 minutes. I was literally 2 minutes, 3 minutes, not even 3 minutes, 2 minutes from her home. So obviously they're going to have to, figure something out here. Sorry guys, but I just got in a major car accident. So anyways, and then once I hung up from them, I called my husband, of course, who just happened to be off work that day. Otherwise, he would have been in Toronto, which is 2 hours from here, at work. So, luckily that day he had an appointment. I can't even recall now what for or what reason, but he had taken that day off of work just as a holiday day or whatever. And so luckily he was at home, which still made him, an hour and a half away from me, hour and a half. And he didn't really, still doesn't now, didn't really know that area out there. He'd never really went out there for any reason. So I did, like I said, because I worked out there every day, but he didn't. So it's going to take a little bit of time for him to find me. I'm like, look for a big field of flashing lights and you're gonna find me. So anyway, I'd called him, so he was on his way out, and they got her loaded into the ambulance. She was, where's my purse, where's my purse? We women, we all do that, eh? Where's my purse? Like, you're taking me nowhere and the whole world's gonna friggin' end if I don't have my purse. Like, everything that's important to me in this world's in that fucking purse. Go get it, right? I went to her car, I got her, actually, no, sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Guys, I apologize, this is my memory skills now. When I had asked her, before anybody got there, and I had her in my truck, and I had asked her, was there anyone I could call? She said, you can call my mom, and I said, where's your phone, sweetie? And she said, it's in my car, and I said, I'll go get it, sit right here, and she jumped out of my truck, and started trying to not run, like I said, 3 steps, literally, but wanted to go to the car to get her phone. And I said, honey, I can get your phone. It's okay. Like, I need you to sit. No, I'll get it. She was just completely out of her mind. Anyway, her phone was in her purse. So, so I had called her mom and spoken to her and said, you know, don't panic, but she's been in an accident. This is what's happened. She's conscious. I mean, she could hear her daughter, you know, crying in the background. I can't even, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine somebody calling me and telling me that my daughter has just been in an accident and I can hear her screaming in the background and crying. I'd be like, oh God, I don't even want to go there. I got lost again. Where was I? They were putting her in the ambulance. She wanted her purse. I said to the paramedic, just half a second. I said, where are you taking her? And he said to the nearest big city hospital. I'll just say Peterborough. He was taking her to Peterborough. So I said, okay, let me just 2 seconds while you guys get her loaded. Let me just call her mom back super quick. And he said, oh, you've spoken to the mom? And I said, yeah, already. I said, she's on her way here. Let me call her back from her daughter's cell phone. And just let her know super quick that you guys are taking her to PRHC, just so she knows where her kid is going, right? And then that was it. And then, and poor little thing, she kept saying to me, I'm so sorry about your truck. Oh, God. I mean, her actions changed and, you know, in essence, really did ruin my life. But she didn't do it on purpose. And I would never say that she did. You know, I mean, shit happens. Accidents happen. She was driving way too fast. She was not paying attention. And I've said this before on Facebook too, so I'm not divulging. Sorry, guys, got a twist. I'm not divulging any information that hasn't already been, you know, long ago made public. It was just a guesstimate on the part of the one police officer that was dealing with me, and he'd shoot me if you heard me say this. But he's an older gentleman. He's probably a couple years older than me. I'm going to be 53 in October, and he's probably, I would say, mid to late 50s. He's getting, you know, upwards towards retirement. And he's probably seen more car accidents than you've had hot dinners. And there's a side story to that, and if I can remember it, I'll get back to it. And he said to me, by the length of the skid marks on the road, I guess they measured them, I don't know. And by how far under my truck she went and how far she pushed my truck, because she was pushing my truck as I was pulling her car, because she's now hooked under there. So we're kind of going together here. He said, given all those things together, I said she was going at least 80 when she hit me. And he said, oh, I think it was a little bit more than that. I say she was going about 90-ish. You know, could even be a bit more than that when she actually made contact with the back of your vehicle, which means she come flying around that corner going $120. So, you know, but shit happens. People make mistakes. Anyway, so they took her away, and I was waiting on the side of the road with the police officers and waiting for my husband. And I remember the cop that was dealing with me said to me at one point, you know, you're taking this awfully good for being the innocent victim. And I said, you know, she's a kid and she's very pregnant. And yeah, like whatever, I'll be mad about it tomorrow. But right now I'm just worried about her. And he said, yeah, totally. You know, so he said, so am I. So is everyone here concerned? I mean, she's very pregnant. And as we were standing there talking, it started to rain a little bit. It went from this gorgeous sunny day, things kind of clouded over, started to drizzle a tad. This is maybe, oh gosh, a good 45 minutes after the accident had happened by this point, I'd say. Maybe even closer to an hour. I'm not really sure. But anyhow, started to drizzle a wee bit, and the cop said to me, you know, he said, you're welcome to have a seat in my car if you want, just to, you know, get out of the rain. And he said, I wouldn't really go and sit in your vehicle because there's all that gasoline and, you know, blah, everywhere. But you're more than welcome to sit in the car if you'd like. And I said, no, I'm okay. I said, actually, the rain feels kind of refreshing because I'm, you know, freaking out. And as we're standing there chatting, all of a sudden, my adrenaline that had been up over the roof, obviously, literally, I just felt everything go, and drain out. So if anybody has ever, and I'm sure pretty much all of you have, ever been in a situation where your adrenaline was literally through the roof, when that adrenaline calms down and leaves you, you're left shaking. You're left feeling like you're going to pass out. You're left feeling extremely nauseated, like you're either going to puke, pass out, all of the above. You start to shake. You go white as a ghost. You break out in a full body sweat. So as he and I are standing there chatting about, you can sit in my car or whatever, I started to feel kind of unwell. But anyways, he at that point had wandered kind of off to go speak to one of the other officers about something. So, for some reason, and I don't remember why, I think at this point in time, I was kind of starting to get a bit oozy in the head there. And I did walk across the road. I mean, obviously traffic's blocked off in both ways, right? So it was safe to walk across the road. So I did walk across the road, and I was by my own truck, or behind her car, I think. Whatever. The two vehicles had become one vehicle, really. So, and I said to one of the other officers, sorry guys, I had said to one of the other officers, I'm really starting to feel kind of, not so good. I said, I'm really starting to feel quite unwell. Actually, I feel like I'm going to pass out. I feel like I'm going to throw up. I'm like, broke out in a full body sweat. Never mind the rain it was just drizzling, but pardon me, never mind the rain coming down. And I said to him, I think maybe we had better call that other ambulance. And now I'm starting to think a little more rationally now that things have calmed down. I'm thinking, you're a fucking idiot. You know better than to not get in the bus. If you don't get in the ambulance, you're not going to get immediate treatment. So I said to him, I think maybe we had better call that other ambulance. And this police officer looked at me and said, well, they're not going to call one now. Really? Okay. I said, well, I'm starting to feel quite unwell. And he said, well, is your husband not on his way here? Is he not coming to take you to the hospital? And I said, well, yeah, but he's not medically trained to do anything. So if something is a little more wrong with me than what right now, again, I mean, I had a small bruise on my left shoulder that I probably should have taken pictures of, but I didn't. But to look at me physically from the outside, I looked fine. Anyway, he said, no, they're not going to call another one. So, all right then. So then one of the more scarier things happened. As I said, they had traffic blocked off on both ends. There was, as I said, fluids of all kind all over the road. There was bits of plastic, and I'm not going to say glass because there's anything even like made of glass anymore. There was bits of plastic and fiberglass and, blah, blah, blah spread everywhere. And they, what's that stuff that they use to clean up fluids on the road? It's like called Absorbol or something. It's kind of like, looks like green sawdust kind of, I guess. I don't really know. Anyways, they had started, sprinkling that around just to soak up the flammable stuff. And one of the firefighters had taken out a big push broom and shovel and started to, he was starting to sweep the road. And obviously these guys, again, small community, so everybody knows everybody by name, right? So I don't remember what their names were by any means, so we'll call them, I don't know, Dave and Bill, and Steve, or whatever, right? So here's Bill with the broom, and he's starting to, sweep up. And Steve over here says, Bill, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he says, I'm cleaning up the debris field. And he said, no, buddy, stop. Steve's on his way, or Dave, whatever, is on his way, and don't touch anything because we're not sure if there's been a fatality. At 37 weeks gestation, that is a viable fetus. So if the baby had not made it through the impact, then there has been a fatality. Unborn or not, that is a viable fetus. She's not, 2 weeks pregnant. So yeah, so he stopped him from cleaning that up, and I just felt sick. I already felt sick, but I felt even sicker. And I thought, oh, dear God, dear God, dear God, please, you know, please don't have this little girl who's, you know, the age of my own child. She made a mistake. Yeah, she screwed up good. She should never have been going that fast. I mean, who drives like that 37 weeks pregnant? I'm not trying to place any blame. Please, I'm not trying to place any blame. But, well, there is blame, but I'm not, do you know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm having trouble with my words again. She doesn't deserve to live the rest of her life knowing that she and she alone, her actions alone, killed her unborn daughter. So, I waited a little bit longer, and then my husband showed up, and of course he came running to me, and he's like, are you all right? Are you all right? I mean, he was freaking because I think I'd called him and I said, I've just been in an accident. I need you to come out here and rescue me off the side of the road. He's like, are you okay? I said, yeah, I'm okay, but the girl that hit me is pregnant and blah, blah, blah. Just get out here. And he really didn't, I don't think, expect the scene that he came up on, which was, I can't remember how many cop cars. The ambulance with her had already left. There's, you know, several fire trucks. There's flashy lights everywhere, and I don't really think that he expected that. So when he came upon that, he thought, "Oh my God, this looks so much worse than what he had anticipated." So I said, "Yeah, I'm okay, I'm okay." And he said, "You look horrible." And I said, "No, I feel like I'm going to be sick, actually." And he said, "You're white as a ghost." And I said, "I feel white as a ghost." I said, "I'm starting to feel quite unwell now." So the officer that was dealing with me, who was absolutely fabulous, like, kudos to you. I wish that I could. I don't know if I can publicly mention his name. I'm not sure if that's okay to do, so I'm not going to do it. And I doubt that he would ever see this video, but if you happen to see this video, you're the best. You're the best. He came over when he said, "Oh, okay, you know, this is your husband." And I said, "Yes." And he said hi and shook his hand, and he said, "Okay, so you're going to get her, like, immediately to the hospital now, because she looked okay for the first little bit after the accident, and now she ain't looking so hot, and I think she needs immediate medical attention." And he said, "Oh, yes, absolutely." And he said, "Which hospital will you take her to?" And he said, "Well, we'll just go to the nearest one to us." So I said, "I'm not going anywhere right now." And of course they both looked at me like I had 6 heads. And I said, I'm not leaving. I can't leave. I'm not leaving until I hear whether that baby's alive or not. I can't leave here and not know. I need to know. So it wasn't much longer. I mean, I think my husband and the cop and I were sort of, you know, standing around chatting about what had actually happened. And my husband had questions like, what the fuck went on here? And one of the other officers came over and called me by name. And he said, "Okay, we've just heard from PRHC. Mom and baby are..." Sorry, guys. Mom and baby are okay. And they're just going to keep them overnight for observation. And it's okay. You can go. So I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It was just like a giant hallelujah. I couldn't believe it because I really, I thought myself, I could see it on the face and in the eyes of the paramedics. I think everybody there really thought that, you know, even though they're pretty well padded inside there, unborn babies can, especially that late in term, can take a pretty good smacking and still be okay. But she was okay. So I hadn't cried at all up until then because it was just, you know, too much panic, too much adrenaline, too much worried about, you know, trying to look after her and just, you know, riding on adrenaline. And when he said those words to me, I lost my shit. I just started to bawl. And I said to the officer that had been taking care of me, "Thank you so very, very much for everything that you've done here today for me." And that's the side story. Let me tell you this before I forget it. So earlier that day when I was driving to work, I had seen an accident about an hour away from where I was, but I had to drive through there to get to work. And it looked quite bad. There was actually a van that was upside down on its roof in a ditch. And I thought, holy crap, when I went by there. And a very good friend of ours, neighbor of ours, has a van like that. And I thought, oh my God, don't tell me that's him, as I went by. And while this officer that was taking care of me, and I were waiting for my husband to come, I mentioned it to him. And he said, yeah, he said, I was there at that one too. And I said, well, ain't this your lucky day? He started laughing. And I said, that one looked pretty bad too. And he said, you know what? Everybody walked away. And I said, wow, really? I was right. All I saw was a van basically almost completely upside down on its roof. And I do believe there was another car involved, and it was kind of like down it. I don't know. You couldn't really see too much, and you couldn't really, slow down or anything and rubberneck because you're going to cause another accident. So anyways, he had been at the scene of that one earlier that day too. And luckily everyone had walked out of that as well. So, that was where I lost my shit and started crying. And I looked at my husband and I said, let's go. So we drove to the hospital and I sat in emerge. Even though they had triaged me when I went in, they were well aware that I had just been in a car accident, struck from behind while sitting at a full stop at a very, very high rate of speed, because I didn't arrive in an ambulance. I did not receive immediate medical attention, and I was made to wait sitting up in a straight back hard plastic chair for 5.5 hours before I got medical attention. So they did a couple of quick cursory x-rays, said, well, actually when the doctor walked in to see me, he says to me, oh, so I understand you've been in a motor vehicle accident? I said, yes. At this point in time, I couldn't sit. I couldn't stand. If I sat, it hurt too much, and I had to try to stand up. And my husband was, helping me to my feet, and I'm crying my eyes out. I'm in so much pain. Everything has just gone stiff. I can't even, I couldn't move my arms away from my sides. I couldn't make a fist. I couldn't turn my head. I couldn't sit. My tailbone was freaking killing me. My whole spine. We'll get into all the injuries and diagnoses and whatnot in the next video. But I was in a lot of pain, to the tune of the lady sitting in the chair beside me. When they called her, she said to the nurse, she said, listen, can this lady go before me? Like, I'm quite happy to wait a wee bit longer if she can get some attention. This poor woman has been sitting here bawling for hours. And they said, no, sorry, it's your files. And I get it. I work in the medical field. I get it. And I know how nuts the emerge is. But it was a Monday. It wasn't a weekend. Whatever. Anyway, so when the doctor came in, he says to me, oh, jeez, why did I do that? I keep flicking my hair out of the way and it hurts my neck. He said to me, oh, and it's just starting to hurt now? Are you frickin' kidding me, buddy? No, it's been hurting for quite some time now, dude. The accident happened approximately 12:35, 12:40 in the afternoon, and this was about 7 o'clock at night, I would say, give or take. Yeah. And it's just starting to hurt now, he says. Really? You actually really just said that? Like, oh my God. So anyway, a few cursory x-rays, said you're fine, take some ibuprofen, go home and have a hot bath, and you should be good to go after that. So that is the end of the, I'm sorry guys, I gotta switch position. That is the end of the gut-wrenching accident story that I'm surprised I got. I actually did pretty good. I'm pretty proud of myself. I actually got through that with minimal amount of bawling. So, yeah, that's what happened. And so the next video will be all about my injuries. Yay. So yeah. So everybody be well. Please be safe. It is the long weekend here right now, and it's bats out there. My husband went into town earlier and came back and said it's just an absolute freaking zoo. The weather today is gorgeous. Yesterday it rained all day and it was freezing cold. Today is absolutely stunning out. And it's busy. And I have heard sirens a few times, and I'm pretty sure earlier I heard the orange life flight go over. I hate to see that helicopter. It just makes my blood run cold because we all know what that means. But anyways, everyone, please be safe. And I love you all. And I will see you in my next video. Mwah.